Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. I'll be the first to admit, for me, dominant chords sometimes get a bad rap. The 5 chord, the 5/7 chord, I really don't want to make my music with that old 18th, 19th century thing going on, but there's a place where it's cool in blues and jazz. Today I want to look at upper structure triads, a way to construct dominant chords to get an extra spicy jazz sound that's actually really simple because it uses something you already know, triads. You know about the 5/7 chord. Take a look. In the key of C, let's record this so that we can see what we're doing. The 5th step of the scale, G, has this chord on it, which contains a 3rd and 7th. And that 3rd and 7th is a tritone, 6 half steps, and it's a spicy sound. It wants to resolve. Well, it turns out, just between us, that tritone is kind of all you need to hear the chord, right? I don't need to put in the root. I don't need to put in the root in the 5th. It's all doing the same thing. Well, here's the thing. We can take advantage of that fact. I'm going to reduce that 5/7 chord to just the 3rd and 7th, and I'm going to add stuff on top of it. So listen to this sound. Here's my tritone from the G chord, and I'm going to add a triad on top of it. Here's the triad I'm going to add on top of it. It's a beautiful, spicy jazz sound. And what we got was super simple. This is an E major triad, and this is the tritone from the chord. Well, why does the E major triad sound so spicy and so cool? Because each note of the triad is doing a job in the chord that's kind of interesting. That's the 13th. It's an E. That's the flat 9. Very spicy. And then there's a 2nd, 3rd on the top. Well, because E is a 6th up from the G chord, I like to call this upper structure 6. It's not my favorite upper structure chord, but it's easy to visualize, isn't it? Well, there are 3 other locations I want to look at, and they all sound great. Upper structure 6, which we just looked at, and I actually want to put aside because I don't like the doubling of the 3rd. The other 3 are upper structure 2. Can you imagine what that is? It's an A triad. Upper structure flat 6, and of course that's the E flat triad. These are major triads. Everybody knows a major triad. And finally, upper structure sharp 4. We'll talk about that one last. All right, let's go on. So we just looked at upper structure 6. Let's look at upper structure flat 6. Now that one is very cool sounding. And as you can see, it doubles the G, which is totally fine. It's acceptable in any counterpoint book, right? We've got a raised 9, that's the A sharp or B flat in the triad, and we have a flat 13. Ever see one of those chord symbols that looks like it's some sort of recipe for a physics problem? Right? G7, sharp 9, flat 13. Well, really what it is the tritone plus an E flat, major triad on the top. So it's a great sound, right? That's upper structure, flat 6. Let's move on. Upper structure 2. The 2nd step up from G is A. So here's my tritone. And here's an A triad, and I'm gonna invert the A triad. Right? So it's an inverted triad. It is beautifully spicy. The tritone is here again, right? Boink. And up on top here, I have a 13th, 9th, sharp 11. G7. But more than that, G13, sharp 11. Amaze your friends. It's just a triad on top of the tritone. Okay, I promised you a last one. It's upper structure, sharp 4. So this is going to be a C sharp triad on the top. And again, I'm going to invert it. And this one is fascinating because if we look at it as a G7 chord, there's our tritone from G7. We've got, I don't know, another 7th. I'm not crazy about that. We've got a flat 9 and as we observed, sharp 11. But really, if you look at all the notes, those are the same notes as the D flat 7 chord. And in that sense, then, it is a tritone substitution. We've talked about tritone substitutions before. Well, this can yield some fascinating results. Now, everybody knows, bear with me, that the circle of fifths allows us to flow around chord progressions. For instance, G is the 5 of E, which is the 5 of F. G7 is the 5 of C7, is the 5 of F7. Now, the roots are at the bottom, and you can see that the tritones from those chords just move down in half steps. And that's a really powerful thing, right? Think about it. The tritones just move down in half steps. In this case, the 7th moves down and becomes the 3rd of E, which moves down and becomes the 7th of F, and really that's what keeps happening. They keep switching roles like that as you go around the circle of fifths. Are you still with me? Listen to the last thing. Listen to how sexy this sounds. So here's G7, flat 13, or a better way to think of it is G7, upper structure, flat 6, right? The major triad, E flat, on top of the tritone. Everything syncs. This is C7, upper structure 2, F7, upper structure, flat 6. I could keep going, couldn't I? As Frank Zappa said, make a jazz sound here. It's a powerful approach to getting complex chords. Everybody knows triads. Upper structures really refer to dominant chords and major triads on the top, at least as we talk about it in the jazz vocabulary. But the idea is much broader, and it's a powerful technique for spicing up your voicings and your chords. You don't have to panic when you see one of those typographically dense chord symbols. The black page. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, will you? Let me know what you're working on. It's been great to hear from all of you. I'll see you next time.